The Hive haven't been on Earth in centuries. That wizard came from the moon.
Send them home crying. You're crushing them.
Omnigul, destroy her!
More efforts like that, and we might just win this.
Welcome to another episode of Agents of the Nine, a Destiny podcast. I'm your host, as always, Tim K. Trotter. Joining me today is...
Damian Newman.
And Mike List.
What's going on, guys?
Sometimes you introduce our names, sometimes you just...
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, no, it occurred to me when I paused, and I was like, they know this by now. Oh, shit, maybe they don't know this by now. Oh, there they go.
Sometimes you do,
there they
sometimes
go.
you don't.
Well, it's usually because in Rising Tide, one of my co-hosts, Caitlin, cannot fucking remember her cue for the life of her. And she's failed so many times at this point where she's basically just like, you need to just do the introductions if I'm on the show, because I'll just fuck it up. So sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But anyway, you guys caught on. So let's get into it, shall we? I mean, we're going to talk about in a more official capacity than what we've been doing over on our Twitch streams, which are available where fine Twitch streams are, as I don't have the document pulled up with our Twitch stream names. But we're going to get into what we actually think about the April 12th Destiny update and what's rubbing us the wrong way and what's stroking us the right way and what could maybe use, a couple more metaphorical Bungie blowjobs from her, it, them, I guess. I'm actually going to start off with you, Mike, since you are the resident lover of Year 1 Prison of Elders. And we have a Year 2 Prison of Elders now, and there's definitely some differences and some newnesses in there. What's your takeaway from the new Prison of Elders, having played a shit ton of it?
Oh yeah, we played a shit ton of it, and the day it came out, we played a shit ton. I like it, man. Like, it gives a whole new spin to it. It definitely requires teamwork and communication to hit that for the challenge. At least sure. The 30,000, the 90,000 will come regardless. All you gotta do is grind for that. But that 30,000, as we all can attest, that's a challenge.
Yeah.
That took us a couple run throughs to realize, like, okay, this is what we have to do, and then we figured out the timing and all that. So I mean, I like it. I'm interested to see what next week will bring. The instead of precision kills, it might be melee, or it might be heavy weapons, or who knows what it will be, really. But
yeah.
I mean, I thought it was good. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed our time in the prison, having Varix talk shit to us. Mm-hmm. I enjoyed it. Plus, we had some funny conversations and some good times were had. And plus, I got the Lord of Wolves and the Queensbreaker, which is what I wanted. And I can say I love that fucking gun. Then I got the Queensbreaker bow and her memory, the auto rifle, which is it's a decent gun.
Sweet. I know myself. I got the Her Mercy, which I've been using a lot actually. I don't think it's as good as the LDR in terms of like its handling.
Her Mercy?
Hmm?
You said Her Mercy?
Yeah. Did I say
That's the hand cannon.
No, the sniper.
Fury? Her Fury. That's what I meant to say. My bad. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. I was gonna say. Okay, so basically, her Fury is the new Queen's sniper, and I think at the time, Mike and Dame, you looked at it and said that I had a fucking hell of a great roll on it. In practice now, I think it might, even though like I don't think it handles just on like a just how it feels level, like as good as like an LDR, which I feel is sort of like the sweet spot for all snipers, in my opinion. You guys can feel free to disagree, but I'm not a sniper person necessarily, but that LDR handled like a dream, and this handles a little bit. It's a little bit slower than that, and the zoom on it is a lot more than I am used to. And also part of that might also be because of the general sniper tweak in that, everything is zoomed in just a tiny bit more. But I think it might be my favorite legendary sniper rifle in year 2. I'm just throwing that out there. My roll is super good. I've been infusing it like a mother. It's actually my highest light special weapon, and it's obviously not a black hammer, which is like the best thing ever of all time until it got nerfed.
Yes, it was.
But for year 2, I think it's as good as that, even though the perks are not comparable, in my opinion, with the roll that I have on it right now. So yeah, I mean that's the most valuable thing I think I got out of the new Prison of Elders. Although I did get the sidearm, which I won't venture to guess what the name is, except it's probably her something or other. But the sidearm is actually really good so far as well. But yeah. Alrighty. Let's toss the, as it were, speaking baton or raid orb over to Dame and hear Dame's thoughts about the April 12th update, now that we've pretty much dived into, I think we've all pretty much dived into every part of the April update so far now, yeah?
Yeah, we did the raid, we did PoE. I did Crucible this morning, not for too much. Yeah, just about. I think we did just about. I mean, it's cool. It's definitely some changes that were needed, but I don't know how long this is gonna keep me to play. I don't think I'm gonna make 16 weeks out of it. It's
yeah, I agree.
Only because like when we did PoE, I had a little bit of concerns, because if the max level is 335,
yeah,
and we ran it a couple times trying to get the high score in challenge mode, but we breezed through that level 42, which is supposed to be the highest level of content in the game.
That's correct.
Thus far.
That's right.
Yeah.
Even higher than
What's
the raid.
the initiative? Right, and we beat that at a highest level of, I don't even think none of us were 320s yet.
No.
I was 312 that first day.
Right, and I was 316.
I was 311 or something like that.
Yeah.
Right. So if we breeze through it at that level, what's the initiative for me to go to max level 335?
Fair enough.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
I
You know,
guess
so
I guess the draw to the bigger light level would be the slightly increased stats going into an Iron Banner or a Trials.
yeah, but why? You know, why?
Because you can. I mean, that's it. That's a perfectly good point, Dame. I mean, I don't necessarily argue with you. I mean, like, I would like to get to 335, but I don't feel the burn to get to 335 like I did when, God, what
The
was it?
Forever 29 days.
Was it 30? Was it 32? 35 in House of Wolves? I forget.
34.
34.
34.
Yeah,
34 skulls.
I don't feel a burn to get to 335 like I did to get to
Right.
light level 34.
You know, so that's my biggest concern. You know, other than that, you know, the nostalgia of the guns. I haven't got any of the old guns yet, but can't wait. You know, I would
Sure.
like to play with my Shadow Price again one time, like ODR or whatnot, old time sake. You know, so. But yeah, that's just my. Other than that, I mean, like I said, it's cool. It's not. I don't hate it, but I know I'm just not going to. There's no way I'm playing this for 16 weeks. No way.
Well, if you look at it another way, it's got more content than The Dark Below.
That's true. That's a very low bar. That's a very low bar.
Yeah, that's the lowest bar.
Right.
So that's the thing.
You know.
For sure.
But yeah, I mean, we'll see. Maybe it has to be. They have to push us to 335 because there's a bigger picture coming down the pipeline.
Yeah.
It has to be. It's. I can't imagine them pushing us to 335 and this is it until September. That was pointless. That was like that was just a Band-Aid over a wound. Still bleeds.
I don't know about that one. I feel like there's probably nothing necessarily happening until potentially, crossing our fingers, September.
And if that's the case, there's no reason to raise the level cap until DLC.
Yeah. Well, speaking of things coming in the future, I just wanted to point out something in the This Week at Bungie, aka the weekly update, because I refuse to call it This Week at Bungie because that sounds dumb. Deej said at the very end of the post, he says here, and I quote here, this is a direct from Bungie.net, "The dust from our deployment has yet to settle, but I can sense a question bubbling up to the top of your throat. What's next? Ask us again sometime. There's fresh fighting to do in the Prison of Elders and beyond. The Taken threat requires your action, and there is sweet loot to earn as your reward. The next point on the horizon is an update we're cooking up for the fall. I've seen it. I'm excited about it, and I will say no more for now. Hopefully the ramp up to the April update served up some proof that we love speaking at length about new Destiny content. Once it arrives at its final form later on this summer, we'll show you the scope, scale, and flavor for the next challenge you'll face. Until then, we'll see you in the Reef and the Tower, and the Crucible. All the places, basically. Deej out." And that was for the April 14th, 2016 update. So they basically hinted at something at fall. That doesn't necessarily... I mean, we could assume, based on previous Bungie releases, that,
All right.
mid-September / towards end of September, big content drop, potentially. Or it could be even later in the fall, because, fall still goes into November a peak, which might suck more, especially because according to the earnings call, there was the rumor that whatever Destiny 2 ends up becoming, or called, or whatever, I guess more likely, is that it was coming out in spring of 2017. So, I mean, obviously, I think from I'm sure I speak for all of us, and especially from Dame's standpoint, that we would like to see it as early in the fall as possible. You know?
Yeah. Something.
Um, I mean, I'm still beating the drum that the whatever this update is will it'll probably be quite large, but this will be the update that wasn't necessarily handcrafted by Bungie, but the one that was made by High Moon Studios. That we've known that they've been working on that Mars expansion for a long, long time.
Mhm.
So that's what I'm throwing my vote into the hat. That's what the fall thing is that Deej mentioned there. Yeah. So, but getting back to this thing you mentioned, Dame, about this content isn't necessarily going to draw you in for the next 16 weeks or however long it is. They said they were going to have new challenges within the Prison of Elders.
Right.
Tell me some more about that.
I mean, I wasn't a big PoE fan in year one.
Yeah.
It just didn't keep me there. It was Trials of Osiris that kept me going.
Agreed.
And
I'm right there with you.
The Malik strike was cool, but I'm not. Oh, I got to run the strike again, over and over and over. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
overly hyped like I was when. Granted, we didn't know what we was getting, but the first time you ran Omnigal, it was something. It was a lot going on, but you still felt something out of that. Like, damn, this is a crazy ass strike. But
Right.
I had a ball doing it. I could definitely do that again. Winners run, yeah, it was cool getting the shotgun, but other than that, it's just
I liked that you had got it and we were all envious. And then even though Kono ran it with us, he didn't get it. But when I checked my
he didn't
postmaster
get it.
that night, I got it too.
So both of you guys got it, and Kono didn't.
Kono didn't get shit.
I don't get nothing.
I have yet to run that strike, so I feel kind of left out.
Yeah, you gotta go into that heroic strike playlist and hope that it pops up.
Oh, because you can't check it from the.
Yeah.
You can't grab it from the main screen.
Mm-mm.
Right.
It's the only way to hit it.
They still give you the old strike too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we, me and Dame were doing something before we caught up in the party chat with Kono, but Kono was running Winter's Run Strike, and he was like, "Oh, is this the Taken Strike? Is this the Taken version?" And he gets to the end. Is he gonna get taken at some point? And then he finished it, and then he's like, "God damn it, that was not the Taken version."
Not at all.
So that's like
Well,
a thing.
my question is, how is that shotgun? Like, what does it feel like?
I like it. It does have some range.
Yeah,
It has some range. It's like I like it for PvE. I think I would play with it in PvP, but it's fun to use.
Does it feel like the Fellwinter's year one, or is it kind of like a party crasher?
Nah, it's nowhere near Fellwinter's. It's nowhere near Fellwinter's. It's like in between a party crasher and Matador back then, as far as like range, but it's cool.
Well, I feel more like it's I've only used it a little bit, so I can't speak as well as Dame to the matter. I didn't find it that effective. I had it equipped when I went into the Oryx raid last night, and I didn't find that it was particularly effective necessarily, which kind of frustrated me a little bit, because clearly, like Dame said, the range on it is good statistically and visually. It's very obvious that thing has fucking insane range. Because the shot grouping, it's got a nice tight shot grouping. So it doesn't necessarily, like the cone of a typical shotgun, like it doesn't necessarily like spread out as much as, in my opinion, a Matador 64. I can't speak to a Fellwinter because I never got one. I only received lots of Fellwinters into my face. So I can't necessarily speak to it. I mean, I'm gonna use it some more. I gotta still level it up still. And sort of segueing a little bit, speaking of leveling up, a thing that I am now having an issue with for the first time in like a year and a half of Destiny playing. I'm out of fucking armor materials. Like,
Yeah, I don't know how you let that happen.
I've upgraded all of my
I
stuff. I
let that happen.
upgraded all my stuff, dude. I had like 700 armor materials, right? And I used all of them this week.
You don't have any on your alt.
No, I took man, when I go into a new piece of Destiny content, I take anything of value from my two subjects, my two lesser classes, and threw them on my warlock. So
That's insane.
So I ran out of weapon parts and I ran out of armor materials last night. Actually, I think I was complaining about it, right, Dame? And on the one hand, I love that the gear infusion and weapon infusion is now a 1-to-1 ratio. Absolutely love it, because I've been infusing stuff. I infused my Jade Rabbit for the raid, which I used the entire raid. And like it had been sitting at 285 for, I mean, I think since I got it, you know, and now it's rolling highball at 320, and it's just
like a lot like
it's
320.
Great.
Too.
Like I don't have a single gun now that is below 320, which is fucking awesome. And I love that, honestly. And it's the way they should have had that gear infusion, because it creates that loot dynamic now of when I see scrap guns that are not worth infusing or scrap armor, I'm kind of excited again because I need the materials so badly.
Yeah, I will say that's probably my favorite thing in this update is that upgrade system.
Yeah.
That's legit.
Yeah, it's very smooth. You know,
I got a chance to upgrade weapons that I never used because I didn't want to have a 280 weapon and waste a 320 gun and only get 296.
Me too, buddy.
Yeah.
Me too, buddy.
You know? So that definitely was a big come up. Come up.
I mean, it's crazy seeing blues decrypt at over 320. It's wild to see it because you're so used to 320 being the max. Like getting a 322 or 325 blue, you're like, what? Oh shit! I know where this is going.
Well, I think one of the things that it kind of jogs your memory of is how it was when we all launched into the Taken King and blues were like 100% useful and awesome again, and now blues are awesome again, and they serve like the whole structure on their white, green, blue, purple, gold tiered system is like the blues have to have value to make the purples and the golds that much more worthwhile, I guess. At least that's how I see it.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so why don't we play a little bit of round robin here, and just for each of us, let's pick out our favorite thing about this update and a thing about this update that hasn't sat well with us now that we've had some time to digest the update a little bit. Why don't you start us off, Mike?
My favorite thing from this update is the changes that how they made PoE fun again. Because I mean, you guys weren't the big. You even said it yourself that you weren't the biggest fans of the PoE the first year. But for me, like I've loved it. You know, I played it the day before the the new update was released. I liked it that much. But you know, doing the challenge mode with you guys or doing it with just random people, it's fun. It's fun for me. The thing that I don't like about it is that it's almost making it seem like I don't like what they did the Crucible. I don't like how because you know I'm a doctrine of passing guy. I like auto rifles, and it just seems like the gun isn't as strong. Like it's made for balance and all that. I understand, but it just doesn't seem to play like it used to. Like when Dame, like for example, when you said for the Hawk Moon, when they kind of nerfed the Hawk Moon, how it didn't feel right to play with, how it just felt off.
Mm-hmm.
The gun just feels off now. I mean, I have another auto rifle that I use now, so it's not a big deal. It's just that it seems like, oh, everybody's using this gun, we might as well nerf it to shit, type of thing, like a feast or famine mentality. But
Sure.
I understand, you know what I mean? They're just trying to make the game even because they want to have a game where anybody can play any gun and feel like, oh, I'm competitive, I'm good, I don't have to use the same gun everybody else uses. And I mean, I can say I've been killed by a lot of different guns now that I haven't seen. I'm like, I got killed by like a blue auto rifle, and I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah. Cool.
Well, see, now that just falls into a category: is a gun OP because it's OP, or is it OP because everyone uses it?
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
if it's OP because
That's
everyone uses it, it's not really anything wrong with the gun.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just nah.
I mean, that's what I think they did with the Doctrine. I think they nerfed it because everybody was using it and not because it was overpowered. I mean, you can still get killed by Mida. You can still get killed by the Hawk Moon. You can still get killed by Last Word up close, but they seem to focus on the Doctrine because I guess everybody was using it.
Oh, I heard the Last Word is going to shit. I haven't used it yet, but I heard it's going to hell. Like that bonus hip fire, that's gone. That is gone. You know, that's the one thing that made the Last Word. The Last Word is the fact that those shots fired so quick, you know, and once you master that hip fire, it's a wrap. You could 2-shot, 3-shot somebody, and that was it. Gone like that, you know. But I don't know. You know, I only dabbled in the Crucible a little bit this morning. I played maybe 3 matches, and
how'd you do in them, Dame? I'm curious because I actually have not touched Crucible yet.
Well, it was early in the morning. I was half dead sleep, so the first 2 matches I did awful. But
Is that how you wake up, Dame? I'm now imagining a scenario where like your alarm goes off and then like before food, before shower, you've got like half your hand on the controller and just like gotta get that headshot. Gotta be quicker than that.
To. When I was really heavy in the PvP, yeah, I would wake up 10 o'clock, 10 a.m. Go right in the Crucible.
Wow.
Right in the Crucible.
Crazy.
But I don't know, man. That doctor was still ripping. It was a dude on my team. That doctor was still ripping people apart. Like it hadn't even been nerfed at all. Maybe he might have been amazingly good, but it was just like melting Guardians.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's not good. I'm just saying it feels different. Like I might have to play with it. I might have to run with it some more just to get my hands back with it. But it just feels like it's a different gun, you know?
Yeah, so I went from the Suros. I used Hawk Moon. Hawk Moon was legit. Hawk Moon, I was 2-shot headshots. Like back in the old days. I was legit. What else did I use? I used a little bit of Hawk Saw, but not long enough to give a nice analysis. But yeah, Hawk Moon, I was very satisfied with Hawk Moon. So that might be my jam again.
Cool. That'll please Killbot.
Yeah, that might be my jam again. And what else? That was it. I only played 3 matches. I played 2 of Control and 1 of Mayhem Clash for the Sterling package, and that was about it.
Did you get your Sterling package?
Yeah, I got it from there.
Awesome.
They still owe me 1.
Yeah,
you know,
they said that they're supposed to be patching that before Tuesday, is what they said, and they said they'll update Bungie.net, letting people know when it's about to go live. They said that they said yeah. How many times did we say that last night in or in the Oryx run? Man.
Right. If I had $1 for how many things Bungie has promised.
Yeah. That's for sure.
But
yeah, so moving to you, Dame, what's your favorite thing about this update, and what's definitely rubbed you the wrong way?
Well, mine is the upgrade system.
Okay.
I think that's probably the best thing they've done in a long time. You know, to implement that 1-to-1. So, like I said, it allowed me to use guns now that I couldn't use before out of fear of me not getting the role that I want. And I will say this, probably because of and it could be because of like the new light level cap. You know, now we're getting blues at a higher level. That also helped.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that helped me get the weapons that I didn't use up to a level now that I can at least experiment with them or mess around with them. Like I'm using my Talala. I was using my Talala not too long ago, and it's at 320. You know, it's been sitting on my warlock for about 2 weeks at 280. You know, and I only used it maybe twice in Crucible, but that was it because it was stuck at 280. I couldn't use it for anything else. But now I get a chance to use that and run with it. So, and that's because of weapons that's spawning at blue weapons spawning at 321 or 320 or 319 or something like that. You know, so that's probably hands down my favorite thing about the new patch. My least favorite thing, the one that rubs me the entirely wrong way, is the microtransaction. That's it.
I knew you were going to say that.
Go forth. Go forth. Preach, good sir.
You know, and first, you know, I always say that I say it jokingly. So like when I'm with teams that have been playing,
Yep.
I mean with people that have been playing with teams. First thing I tell them is how much you pay for that armor. You know, there's people in here with full-fledged Desolate armor. Like, how much money did you spend on that? You spent $30. You sold your soul, $30. You know.
Well, I remember when we met up for Oryx last night, and you were telling me and Kono before you arrived, you're just like, guess what? I got a full set of Desolate armor. And I was like, for real? That's so fast. And you're like, hell no, I didn't buy any of that shit.
I'm not refused. I'm not doing it. You know, I'm not doing it.
I remember when we did our stream, the dude had the set of Desolate armor, and you followed him around like, look at this, guys. Look, he got Desolate armor.
Oh,
you know
yeah,
what he did.
yeah,
you know he
remember.
bought.
Right.
And then we looked at him,
Yeah.
and he backed up, and then he did like a funky like bow, and then he warped out.
Yeah, man. You know, I'm not. I can't do it. I'm not dropping. I don't care if it's $2 to pay for some armor. I'm not doing it. I can't. I refuse. You know, and so I'm just curious to see how many people have done it. You know, because whether you do it on your streams to prove a point, or whether you do it for whatever reason on paper, when Activision and Bungie gets those numbers, it's going to show that people paid for it. And that's going to be even more clause for them to pay for even more stuff in microtransactions, you know. So,
well,
I wish it wasn't there.
Yeah. Well, it's the same old thing, Dame. You know, it's the thing that Greg Miller and Colin Moriarty of PS I Love You podcast have always preached for years and years and years is vote with your wallet, kids.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And it was funny because I was in the studio last Sunday, and the producer that I was working with, he tapped out on Destiny before even I don't even think he played the Vault of Glass. He tapped out like level 26.
Oh,
you know, and yeah, and he was like, we were talking about. He was like, dude, Activision's behind this. I wouldn't be surprised if they carried it in such a way where you have microtransactions and you're paying for a random bag on what you can get as far as weapons, and you come out with squat.
Speaking of that, Dame, and I wanted to touch on this a little bit. You know, I listened to a interview that IGN did with Marty O'Donnell, the legendary Bungie composer who got fired.
The McCaffrey one?
Yeah, the Ryan
That's a good
McCaffrey one. And you know, he hasn't worked at Bungie since 2013, right?
Yeah.
And he talked about one of the disagreements that he thinks, because he said he still doesn't actually know why he was fired.
Right.
one of the things he said he thought was one of the things that was a disagreement, because he'd been with Bungie a long, long time, and he would apparently have hands in some of the business dealings and some of the story dealings and stuff because of the position he was in and because of how small Bungie was back in the day. And, you know, that slowly faded to him just being the composer, even though he had a decent amount of decisioning to do on Destiny. He said one of the arguments was that the publisher had too much control over Destiny in some areas.
Right.
And that is something he said. And he's like, you know, he was an integral part of Bungie, and we're still hearing, and probably will still be hearing, his music in Destiny for Destiny's life cycle as a product.
It's there.
And
It's
that's unfortunate, because it essentially confirms me and Dame's worst fears. And I know Dame's been on the side of doom and gloom, and I've been on, well, maybe it's not as bad as we think it is. And it essentially confirms that, yeah, Activision has a significant amount of pull in certain areas. We don't know what areas, in certain areas of Bungie's Destiny. And that's fucking sucks.
Let me tell you something. You don't make a deal with the devil and think the devil's not going to interfere. Never. Never.
Well, that's true, I suppose.
You know? So, anything that Activision is behind, if it has a pathway to make some money, they're going to ride that car till the wheels fall off. All four. To the last spoke is on the tire. Literally.
Yeah.
You know? It's... I don't know. So I wouldn't be surprised with paying for weapons.
I really just stop, Dame. It's too much. It's too much.
The second that happens, I don't care if it's as garbage as No Land Beyond was in Vanilla Destiny. I am tapping out. That will be the day I will happily eject my Destiny out of my PS4 and walk my ass to GameStop and trade it in for something else. Happily.
I don't disagree with you. Although a personal side of me is like, you have discs for Destiny? Am I the only one who's all digital?
Yeah, you're the only one who's all digital.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I have a
It's
disc.
just
I have
me.
disc. I have all discs for every
okay.
game I have.
I see how it is. Okay. Fair enough.
I don't have too many discs. I have about 5. Everything else is digital.
Okay.
But
Fair enough.
yeah, that will be happening though.
Yeah, I wouldn't begrudge you. Sweet. So, getting on to me, and the thing that stood out to me the most from the April 12th update that played and observed. I won't necessarily say Dame's thing, even though I totally agree with Dame that the one-to-one infusion system is the greatest thing since sliced bread. That would be my thing, but I'll go another route, and I'll just say that the amount of gear that has dropped for me in, what are we on? We're on Friday. So in like 4 days of playing, in the evenings after work, I've had more gear drop than, like, God, I don't even know. Like, I've just had so much gear drop, not all of it's been good, but like I've been getting such a steady influx of blues and purples, and I've gotten like 4 exotics this week, and like just that whole tweak on that ratio, whatever they did there, keep it like that, man, because I like upgrading all of my stuff and being able to upgrade all of my stuff, and I think not just the infusion system, but just the drops are definitely helpful. And the other thing in terms of drops that's super cool to me, and I remember when it first popped out, and I had totally forgotten about it in the Bungie Twitch stream, But when we first ran Prison of Elders and we killed a boss and he dropped a purple, I was like, oh, sweet. I forgot that they drop engrams in Prison of Elders now, which is awesome, you know? So I liked that as far as changes are concerned and what's going on in the April 12th update. The thing that's rubbed me wrong the most of the April 12th so far, and I shudder to think how much more I'm going to hate it, because I've not played a lot of PvP yet, although I'll definitely try to get some Trials of Osiris time in this weekend to see what the new meta's like, is just within running Oryx last night, the revive times, man. Revive times fucking suck.
Mhm.
Holy shit. It changes, like, it's not a lot, but you can't, like, I mean, I know they said it in the stream, but in a hard mode raid, being able to not run over a person even with quick res and res them, it's the difference between, like, stopping for 2 seconds and then taking an ogre blast to the face and dying, and
Right.
like resing somebody and winning. You know what I mean? And it's like, holy shit. Like, I think we wiped a lot more than we would normally on hard mode raid, which sucks, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
So I am so against that, and I know it's even worse in PvP and even worse than that, specifically in Trials of Osiris. So I'm just like, oh man,
Very.
I don't even know, man. Like, it's gonna be scary. It's gonna be, not to start singing a Disney Aladdin song, "A Whole New World" out there, but it's gonna be a whole new world out there. So I don't know.
It's gonna be very interesting. See where they go with it.
I shudder about that. Alrighty. So is there anything you two wanted to talk about specifically concerning this stuff or stuff in the future?
I hope we got something down the pipeline that would justify the 335 cap.
Okay.
Because Prison of Elders, where it is now, we breezed through that. We must have ran that. I mean, we ran that. I don't think we wiped out of the. How many times did we run it? Like 3 times, 4 times.
We ran it 4 times.
4 times, and then on 42, and then white at cap level 316.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, no, we definitely didn't wipe.
Yeah. We were on it, unless we were really on superstar mode, but it was really easy, fairly easy for 42.
What about you, Mike? Is there anything else you wanted to bring up?
Man, I was just how the new strikes are so much. I like the Moloch strike, the Blighted Chalice. I liked it personally. But my one thing I was going to bring up was to Dame's comment about how if Destiny brought in microtransaction weapons that he would leave. Because I know, Dame, you played Black Ops 2.
Yeah, I did.
Now, were you mad about the Peacekeeper? Or were you okay with it because it came in the DLC pack and everyone got it?
I was upset, even though I paid for the season pass and I got it, but that was just not fair because when it first came out, it was so OP. When I say OP, it was, you could literally, the second to kill, time to kill now, I think was maybe about 0.6 seconds. It was crazy, how quick that gun was. But it was funny because a buddy of mine, he was like, dude, I'm not paying for it. He said, I'm not paying for that just to get a gun. I just wait for somebody to drop it. I'll kill somebody, wait for somebody to drop it. And I pick it up and use it that way. I said, yeah, that's actually very smart. I never thought to think that, to take that tactic. And that's what he did. But still though, it's still an issue in a pay to win situation. You are excommunicating your fan base by saying, hey, in order to get better or in order to compete, you have to give me money. That's crazy, that's why I didn't pay for DLC in Ghost. And even though Ghost was awful anyway, I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah.
terrible, you know. And then I haven't played a Call of Duty since then. And yeah, I mean, it's just not right, you know. Like, imagine, I'm glad Xbox finally get to see the Hawk Moon for what it was, but they had to wait a whole year for paying the same amount of money for a game that we paid for on the PlayStation side, you know.
And not to mention all the nerfs therein.
Right. You know, and so that's another reason why I'm glad Hawk Moon is the way it is now, because now Xbox can experience a little bit of how the Hawk Moon was, but it feels good. It ain't the God road that it was, but at least they can get that much, you know. But yeah, I mean that's always going to be a problem. You're paying to win, but you shouldn't have to, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's my stand.
So one thing that I wanted to bring up, because we have been doing some Agents of the Nine streams on Twitch, which are archived on YouTube as well. You can check out the streams that we've done under my Twitch ID, which is Tim_KA_Trotter. You can also check out Mike List's Twitch, and that's Buster_Knuckle. Or, of course, Damian's, which is I am self-made Dame. So you can check out those, or check out our agents things on my Twitch as well. And if you want to see the archives of that, you can follow that to the YouTube and just punch in simply Dynamic Works Productions, one word, into the search bar on YouTube, and that'll bring you to the right area there. And speaking of us having done Twitch streams, I wanted to just lay out how we worked out our strategy for acing the Challenge of Elders. The thing that we figured out on our own, basically, through trial and error and various timers and stuff, is basically when you're doing the Challenge of Elders is if you start a 5-minute timer, right as soon as the boss pops up in Challenge of Elders, you basically need to have that boss's health down by 1/4 every minute, and you should be clear of both the arena and the boss and the ads in hopefully a little over or a little under 4 minutes each time. Because we found, whether it's true or not, that if you haven't been damaging the boss, it seems like your timer actually goes down quicker. That may or may not be true, but that's what we feel we observed was true. And then the other thing is doing combo attacks, and by that I mean getting triple assists on enemies. So if you focus your fire, particularly with grenades, and coordinating when your supers are ready to pop, and getting a constant cycle of supers going, you'll boost your score up well into where it needs to be to meet the challenge card. And so, you know, if you've got 3 players and each person's getting a couple of shots off an enemy, and then one dude finishes off, get your super, you try to group up some enemies, you know, lead them into a trap, and, you know, put a Nova Bomb down, or a Titan Hammer, or, you know, Hunter Bow, you know, that goes greatly for your score. Another thing that I noticed is sniper shots are worth a ton of points on headshot kills, and according to Dame in our stream, the same goes for scout rifle headshots as well. Those are worth a lot of stuff, and even regular single grenade kills are actually worth more points than a normal kill. Sadly, sword slashing, while awesome, not worth it for the points.
Unless heavy weapons are favored, and then.
Does that count as a melee, or does that count as a heavy weapon kill?
It's a heavy weapon, right?
You know, I don't know.
It uses heavy weapon ammo.
Yeah, I think so. One would think, man.
One would think, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Also, the very first round seems to be the make or break round too.
Oh,
you would think that the last
yeah,
round, but the
yeah.
very first round is when
You
when
know
we
what's
got.
funny?
Yeah.
I told Tim this. I was watching Planet Destiny, watching Brad Rabbit do the Planet Destiny video for Prison of Elders, and their approach was the complete opposite. So he was more like the first round isn't really going to be one that you put too much pressure on.
Mm-hmm.
But for us, it was. We took it as, okay, we have to have this amount of points going into the second round.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't know if it was the team that he was playing with, but he was like, I'm kind of paraphrasing. So they went in the third round with 6,000 and walked out with 33. I was like, damn, what the hell was they doing?
Yeah, I don't know.
Probably all precisions.
I guess. All precision,
man.
all team fire.
Mm-hmm.
Had
I guess.
to, you know, a crap load of ads.
Right.
All while on top of beating the boss within the time limit. That's very impressive.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, you know, that was a good strategy we had.
Yeah,
Really
no,
good strategy.
what we ended up doing in the end there definitely totally worked. So I guess what we did for, well, I mean, I guess it's not, the same strategy is not necessarily going to apply every week. But what we did in the, because it went Vex, and then it went Hive, and then it went,
Fallen.
Yeah, Fallen. And so in the Vex, we basically stood more or less all on the right side of the arena from the doorway entry, and did sniper shots on the boss, and then one of us would focus on ads while another one would work on the boss, and then every time we'd yell super, and then we'd bomb the ads. When we went into the Hive arena, we had to do a lot more floating around because of the particular damage that boss threw out with those fire pools, I guess, which were super awful because while they were about the size of like the green pools that like other things have thrown down in Destiny, you cannot jump over them because you still get damaged. So they're even more deadly. And we just did a lot of floating and picking each other up and working from both advantages of the maps from either the left side or the right side. And then in the final Fallen arena, which is, of course, against that giant Sipix Prime looking thing. The Servitor Overlord, or whatever the hell his name was.
Pilot Servitor.
Yeah, Pilot Servitor. We mostly stayed all the way to the right in the far back towards the edge of the map, up top from where the enemies spawn, and we were able to do most of what we needed to do, except for when the Servitor was like way the fuck back in the old Skolas area.
Yeah.
But other than that, we just did what I mentioned with the precision stuff and the assists and the super timing, and then the timing itself. You could probably say that timing is not necessarily that important, but in terms of doing the challenge mode and making that time, like keeping yourself on pace, like every minute, it really just helped us. Not just succeed through the challenge mode, but it helped us as a team too. And it's actually not a bad tactic in really going into anything, for that matter, in Destiny.
Right.
So.
Well, Kono pointed out something when I ran it with him last night. He was like, we got to the Fallen Servitor.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, once it starts spawning close to us, that means it is very close to 5 seconds. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. And didn't notice that even when we ran it 3-4 times that we did, you know.
What do you mean spawning close to you in 5 seconds? Like if it spawns close to you, you have 5 seconds left to kill it?
Well, you're getting close to the 5 minutes. Excuse me. You're getting close. Your 5 minutes is pretty much coming to a close. You may be about 10, 15 seconds away from that counter going off. You know, so
I gotcha.
Yeah, it was nice little. If it's falling next week or anything, nice little mechanic to use. So
watch the first boss next week will be Skolas or some shit.
Oh my god. Skolos with solar burn.
Skolos plus pilot servitor.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I actually no, don't please no.
Don't do that. Don't.
Like, oh, you thought it was easy last week, huh? Let's see you get past this.
Yeah, basically, right?
Good luck getting 30,000 now, motherfuckers.
Pretty much.
No, we're not nerfing.
Well, all right. That pretty much wraps up this episode of Agents of the Nine. I've got y'all's things for people to follow Mike and Dame. Mike lists stuff. His YouTube is Buster Knuckle, and that's just with a plain space in there. His Twitch, again, is Buster_Knuckle. His Twitter's The Real Mike List, and on PSN, he's Blister Lister 113. Damian's YouTube is I Am Space Self-Made Dame. Damian's Twitter is I Am Self-Made Dame. Damian's Twitch ID is also I Am Self-Made Dame. And Damian's PSN is Self-Made Dame as well. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, my YouTube, which is really the show's YouTube / all of my podcasts YouTube / my company's YouTube, Dynamic Works Productions. So you can find all of the Twitch streams and all of our future video content there as well. So that's, once again, it's Dynamic Works Productions on YouTube. Just one word there. And of course, you can follow me on Twitter. I'm Tim_T. And my Twitch stream ID is Tim_KA_Trotter. And of course, my PSN ID is Linux is the Demon. And if you want to hit me up on Xbox as well, my ID there is TimT. For anything else concerning us and Agents of the Nine, you can, of course, check out our Facebook page, Agents of the Nine Destiny Podcast, or tweet at us at Agents of the Nine. That's Agents of the Nine with the number 9. Or you can email questions, comments, concerns, or whatever to have them read on the show here. Agents of the Nine at iCloud.com. And the 9 in that is NINE. Other than that, check out all of our shit at www.dynamicworksproductions.com. Brand new website. You can find all of this data here, minus the YouTube and Twitch stuff, since we're still getting that gathered. I finally wrote it down. I know I probably could have done that a year ago, but I finally wrote it down. And that'll be making a nice home on our website soon.
Real quick, Tim?
Yeah. What did I miss?
Sorry,
What did I do?
I was going to give a shout out to one of my friends, Camp Eichmere. He just had a baby girl. Just wanted to give him a shout out, say congratulations.
Okay, cool.
Oh, nice.
All that.
Sweet. And yet more people spawning offsprings in the world, like a Zerg creep, always be spawning. For those who get that poor StarCraft reference.
Oh, I get it.
All right, guys, you want to sign off?
Go ahead, Dame.
Yeah, I'm Self-Made Dame. Damian Self-Made Dame Newman.
I'm Mike Buster Knuckle List.
Sweet. And I'm Tim K. Trotter, signing off. Till next time, Guardians. The Citadel, Arrival, is the first installment in a series of epic science fiction short stories reminiscent of the Pulp Fiction style. It's a fast-paced story that will take you through twists and turns that you will not expect, until they are thrust upon you with all the force, excitement, and chaos of a plasma cannon blast. The story follows Katarl, a nobody cog in the working wheels of a futuristic society run completely by Megacorp, a corporation that carefully runs and manages the lives of the people living under its sphere of power. On one of Katarl's few and far between days off from work, an outing he had hoped would be fun and relaxing turns into an explosive adventure that drags him kicking and screaming into situations and challenges that will make him question every aspect of his life. Watch this colorful tapestry unfurl as Katarl and his newfound allies find their way through this classic, yet oddly surprising tale of good and evil, where nothing is quite what it appears to be. That's The Citadel, A Rival by author Tim K. Trotter. Available right now on Amazon Kindle Store and iTunes iBookstore for only $2.99.
This is Dominic Armato, the voice of Guybrush Threepwood, and you're listening to a Dynamic Works production podcast.
Guardian down.